Hello everyone, today I'll be discussing about Bolar exemption. First I'll go forward with the introduction and the history behind Bolar exemption and the provision related to Bolar exemption in India, and then the cases in India, then the conclusion. For an invention to be patented, it has to satisfy three criteria: novelty, distinctiveness, and capable of industrial application. So, uh, obtained will grant exclusive rights towards the owner, and he enjoys monopoly for a period of 20 years. Let me illustrate regarding Bolar exemption. Let us suppose that there is this company called as X, which is manufacturing an anti-cancer drug. It is not a generic company, and there is a company Y, which is a generic company, which wants to as manufacture generic version of that drug. So, company X has obtained patent over the invention, and within the expiry of the period of patent, the generic manufacturer wants to manufacture the drug. So, Bolar exemption says that he can manufacture the drug provided it is for research and development purpose, and it should not be for a commercial purpose. So, it is basically a third party rights given to the uh, generic manufacturers to manufacture the drug because of public interest and also to serve the research and development purpose. So under TRIPS agreement, it allows for Bolar exemption. In India, it is dealt under Section 107A. Let me narrate the history behind Bolar exemption. It started with Roche Product Inc. versus Bolar Pharmaceutical Company Inc. Roche was manufacturing Dalmane, a sleeping pill. It contained flurazepam hydrochloride. Roche had obtained a patent for flurazepam hydrochloride, that is the Dalmane drug, from January 1967 to 1984. In 1983, Bolar, without waiting for the expiry of the uh, patent period, it started manufacturing the generic version of the medicine. Roche filed a complaint stating that there was only a pecuniary interest behind Bolar in obtaining the permission to manufacture the generic version of the drug, and it amounted to infringement of the patent. Then the matter was appealed to Court of Appeals, Federal Court. Here Bolar claimed two exemptions, that it was only for experimental and public purpose were they manufacturing the generic drug, and CAFC held that there was only pecuniary interest behind uh, Bolar manufacturing the generic drug, and it was not for experimental purpose. But Bolar argued that using a patented component for FDA mandated testing to develop a generic drug should be exempt from patent infringement. Later on, in the aftermath of the case, it led to the enactment of Hatchman-Waxman Act 1984. It stated that the generic manufacturers could manufacture the drug provided it was for developmental and experimental purpose. Next, I'll deal with the provisions related to Bolar exemption in India. It is dealt under Section 107, as I had told in the first slide. So here it has stated that only for developmental and regulatory purpose can the generic manufacturers manufacture the drug, and this is having an extraterritorial jurisdiction. That is, even the MNCs must satisfy the Bolar exemption clause in India. In Bayer Corporation versus NATCO, sorafenib tosylate, a component, was found, and it was introduced through Nexavar tablet. This tablet was being sold for 2.8 lakhs per tablet. Later on, NATCO had to go forward with compulsory licensing and market the product for 8, 8,800 rupees. The case introduced the bifurcation of regulatory export and commercial export, and it stated that Section 107A included the regulatory export and not the commercial export. As I had told earlier, it is only for regulatory and experimental purpose can the drug be manufactured and not for commercial purpose. In Marshall versus SMS Pharmaceuticals, it was held that foreign recipients had to obtain an undertaking stating that the sample will be used only for the purpose of research and development. Here is a comparison table between US and India. In Hatchman-Waxman Act, it has been mentioned that commercial marketing is excluded from the scope of the section. Under Indian law, that is section 107A, it has been stated that there will be only regulatory activities which will be permissible, but not commercial use activities. These are the limitations with respect to Bolar exemption. First one is that it should be only for regulatory and experimental purpose can the activities be approved, but not for commercial purpose. There is always jurisdictional differences. We saw in the previous slide how the laws were different in US and India, and they were worded in a different way. It is applicable only for drugs and it does not include medical equipments and devices. Thus, I would like to conclude by stating that this exemption was permitted only for the benefit of the society to make drugs affordable, and it is only on the basis of research and development alone can the products be used and not for commercial purpose. There is always a scope for potential abuse. So, thank you for listening to my lecture. Please let me know in the comments what are the next topics that I'll have to cover.